Greetings and welcome to the 7th review in our mid-2019 video review series. I'm going to review a cigar that I guess I've grown to fall in love with more and more as I've become more experienced in in this great hobby of ours, and that's the Bolivar Belicosos Finos. 52 ring gauge by 140 millimeter campanas cigar, slightly smaller than your average torpedo, which is 16 millimeters longer, or about 3/4 of an inch longer. So this is probably 5.5 inches long in comparison to your normal torpedo cigar, which is about a bit under 6.25 inches long. Now I'm going to show you something that I tend to do with these torpedo type cigars, and that is I always cut them with my Calibri V cutter, because they make a nice deep cut. And there's always, when I first got into cigar smoking, when I used to try to cut these torpedoes, I always used to have issues with where to cut it. Do I cut it about there or about there, about there? It was always, there wasn't consistency in my cuts, and I found through reading on Friends of Urbanos forum that a number of members would V-cut them, and I went with that. And when I got the Calibri V-cutter, which gives you a slightly deeper V-cut, I found that they provided a perfect cut. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. And I found that where it cut it was perfect, and I haven't looked back since. I don't smoke any of my torpedo type cigars with a straight cut anymore, really. I just use my Calibri V cutter. So something to think about. It's an option for you. If you haven't done so, give it a go. If you have the Calibri V cutter, you probably do it anyway, and you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and just cold draw that. There's really nice barnyard flavours there. Let's light this up. And I mentioned pretty much early on in this review that I've fallen in love with the BBF, as we commonly call it on our forum. Mainly because Bolivar, not a marker that I gravitate to or find affinity with. I find if a Bolivar cigar has strong earthy flavours, it doesn't appeal to me, and that's how it is. Some of you can relate to that. Some of you, on the other hand, love those earthy flavours. In my experience, I've tended to find enthusiasts tend to they either they love the Cohiba and eschew the Bolivar marker, or the other way around. They really love the Bolivar marker, or they don't go for the Cohiba grassiness. So I find that the flavours tend to be on either spectrum, in my opinion. I tend to find too many enthusiasts that don't mind either Bolivar or the Cohiba. There's been a recent post or topic on Friends of Urbanos, which marker do you favour least? And the Bolivar and Cohiba were the two main markers that came up, and the Monte Cristo marker. Some for flavour, because I can understand recent Monte Cristo flavour has tended to fall into two categories with Monte Cristo cigars that I've smoked in the last 18 months to 2 years. Either that very strong cocoa flavour or the more refined nut citrus edge flavour that, and I'm thinking specifically Monte Cristo number 4 and not Monte Cristo number 2s. So in that topic of which flavour, which market do you favour least, Bolivar, Cohiba, and Monte Cristo were the top 3. I think Monte Cristo was there in regards to consistency in construction, but also lately consistency to flavour, and I can completely understand that. As for myself, as you know, if you follow my video review series and read my posts, I do love Cohiba. I do love Monte Cristo. I would expect that would be my second favourite market. But I'm honest enough to say that there is a wide range in what you find in construction and flavours in the Monte Cristo market. And I can understand our members finding fault with the construction and flavour consistency. I can totally understand that. But going back to the BBF, well, it's been fantastic the last good 2 years. They've been very consistent, coming up quite often on our forum with 24 listings. A very consistent seller. I picked up a quarter pack, of which I think this is my third smoke of the 6. I think this is a February. Yes, I think it's a February cigar. So it's only 6 months old. The first 2 I had were great. This is similar. Straight off the bat, getting some nice like a maltiness that I really connect with. There's definitely cocoa there. I've commented on my last 2 BBFs that there was a really nice soft marshmallow type texture to it. Yeah, I can definitely taste that in there too, and that's what I really like about recent BBFs. The earth and the leather I've found has been more prevalent in the last half or last third, but it hasn't been overpowering. Otherwise, as I honestly mentioned at the beginning of the review, if this was more of an earthy, typical earthy Bolivar cigar, I don't think it would appeal to me. But that's not the only marker I find that when there's certain flavours, it doesn't appeal to me, but when there is, it does. I found, as another example, the Juan Lopez number 2, another very popular Robusta cigar on our forum. I found in their youth there's been a very strong toasted tobacco and coffee, spice, pepper, spice edge to them, and I haven't enjoyed them as much as I've enjoyed older Juan Lopez cigars, where you get more of that orange citrus chocolate coming through, and it's more refined. So another example would be the Ras. Although I do enjoy Romano Juanes, young Ras, it's not something I gravitate to. I like Ras to be way older, bring out more of that stewed fruit profile in them. But so far so good. It's been smoking great. Look at the rings on that. Perfect burn. Yeah. Perfect draw, smoking wonderfully. Nice malt. Marshmallow, cocoa. I've also mentioned in previous reviews that a little bit of nutmeg and cream. Not getting that at the moment. We'll see how it goes. I'll smoke a bit more down, and I'll come into the middle third and comment further. Into the middle third, and it's still smoking really well. Construction's spot on. I would mention in the first third that the cream and the nutmeg to it, or the spice, certainly picked up in spice. I mentioned in previous BBF reviews, written reviews, that I was inclined to get a spice cream, or that cream or that nutmeg spice. Certainly has that spice. The cream is there in the malt. I bet the best way to explain it, it's like smoking uh, a bit of malt beer. I think of, if you're familiar with the Guinness beer, that's what it's like for me, and I really enjoy. I'm not really a beer drinker in any way, but if I have a beer, I like to have a dark ale, and I definitely enjoy Guinness. And this reminds me of that. I think that's why I gravitate to it. It certainly has that cream malt and that nutmeg spice to it, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it, as you can tell. And this is every bit as consistently good as my previous two BBFs. I had a 6-pack that I bought a few months ago, and I think this is the third one. I think I've recently picked up another PSP 6-pack April, from April, and I've put them away, so I'll give them a little bit more time till I smoke them, but in the meantime I've got 3 more of these left. And this is one of those cigars where I'm not inclined to care to age it, for my personal preference, because I'm enjoying them so much now. And there was a topic recently about that very issue. If you're smoking great now, why age it? I can understand that. It's all about cigars are all about getting them where they're at that peak for you, and sometimes that's older, and sometimes when they're new, they're fine. Go through the box and don't feel guilty. That's certainly the case for me for this cigar, and I think I've got some UEB May 18 Monte Cristo 4s, for example, that no way in my mind, I've gone through a quarter of that box, and no way in my mind would I even care at that age, past the 3-year mark. I just don't need to. They've been smoking great already. So yeah, so if you feel that you've got a cigar that you're smoking right now, and you're going through the box, and maybe you should age it, I wouldn't even worry about that. As you smoke more cigars, more variety of cigars, just keep in mind, if they're smoking well now, don't worry about resting them thinking that they're going to get better. Smoke them to that peak point that's right for you, and enjoy them. I'm really enjoying this. Look at the ash on that. It's just, I've only ashed it once. I reckon I can go a little bit more and see how long it goes until I have to ash it again. I'm going to come back into the last third and give my concluding thoughts on this cigar. Okay, so I'm well and truly into the last third, and funnily enough, I had issues getting the band off, and that's understandable with the cigar being so young. So I made sure that the heat of the cigar came down as close to the band as I could, and then got it off as best I could. But it did tear a bit of the wrapper, but it's not too bad. But that's one thing to be mindful of. If you have issues with getting a cigar band off on a cigar, you don't want to tear the wrapper, just get the heat to loosen the glue, get it to come down a bit more. That's a tip, and that's what I did. And it still tore a little bit, as you can see, but it hasn't completely torn off. So it's still smoking very well. Still got that lovely malt that I really like, that stout type malt. a little bit of earthiness that you expect in the last third, but yeah, really enjoying it. I think I'll knock this down. I'm glad to have smoked this today. The draw's been great all the way, and smoke output per draw has been fantastic. And as you can tell, I've really enjoyed it. Okay then, so I hope you've enjoyed this review and you've gleaned something from it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, happy smoking.